any other ITV, etc. Those kind of channels where we have like ministers and so on talking in between the children walk in. I want that. That is fantastic. I even said to my daughters, please do make a guest appearance whenever you want. Just come in, smile, wave, just like you're a young man. Okay.
Yeah, that's
All
right.
right.
Because those things go viral, right? So yeah, that's what we
There
want.
you go. It'll help us. It'll help the radio. That's what we want. We want whatever. There he is. There he is at the
There
back.
he is. Yeah,
What's his
just
name? Give him an intro.
yes, that's Muhammad Musa.
Muhammad.
Is 2 year old. He's gonna be three next Friday. So is
MashaAllah.
so yeah, in Ramadan he's gonna turn three. So yeah, just looking forward to it. Yeah, it's causing mayhem, pile of trouble. I think one of the big things around lockdown is a lot of people thought they had a lot of time. Obviously, when you've got a little one, you have no time at all. It's
You've done well. You've been working from home and so on, as well
yeah.
as looking after him. Young parents, I have a lot of love and respect for you guys. I actually looked at a child the other day and I thought, oh, mashallah, very cute. And that was it. It stopped at that. I didn't say, oh, yeah, I would love to have another one. It was the first time in my head. I thought, wow, that is such a strange feeling and strange thought. Before it'd be like, oh, beautiful, mashallah. Yeah, nice, mashallah. That's somebody else's child, mashallah. That's it. That was it. Look, listen, in my defense, alhamdulillah, I've been blessed with 5 children and they are growing up very quickly and so on. It's beautiful. Time for you, Imran, to enjoy that. Right, we are here on the Good News Show. I've been babbling on. I do this every time, okay? I speak too much sometimes. All right, I am seriously so happy and privileged to be on Ramadan Radio because this year I didn't think I would get the opportunity because, number one, I didn't have much time, surprisingly, in lockdown, approaching Ramadan. I had a lot of backlog of work and so on, which is good news, by the way. If you think about it, you know me from a travel industry. So when lockdown happened, there has been no travel. Alhamdulillah, I've been blessed with kind of like pivoting into a different sector, the energy sector, and so on. So people like you and me, we've managed to hold on to a job or get a new job and so on. I know there's a lot of unfortunate people that don't have jobs. The good news is, we're here to try to just brighten up that 1 hour of their time, whichever way it is, and so on, with great news, good news from the local community, from yourself, from myself, people who have texted in and so on already to me to tell the world about a little bit of good news about them. Plus, since last year, when I was looking at good news shows or material for good news, I thought, why is it whenever I put a news channel on, what do you see? The first five headlines are positive or negative?
They are negative, doom and gloom. So much so that I try and skip the news because it's just depressing.
It doesn't matter which way you go, you avoid it, but you'll come in your face. You walk in a supermarket aisle, you'll see some news. So like, I guess you got to stay in touch with the news, whichever way, whether it's through some other format of social media. So last year when I was looking at it, I found this one lady who was doing a newspaper for children. Do you remember Newsround? Or are you too young for that?
Yeah, no, and I remember news round. I'm not that young.
John Craven.
Yeah, I
I mean,
remember news round.
he might have had a few other people presenting that. So on the news run, it was a short, abridged version of the news, but never anything too hardcore.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like an introductory. So this lady, what she did was she set up a newspaper of only positive news. 5, 6 articles and so on. I thought it was brilliant, but there's only so many things I could talk about from those articles. This year, when I looked it up, I've only given you 2 links. There are tons of news channels that are doing positive news. I think it's a phenomenon built from COVID-19 lockdown. That's what I think. What do you think? I mean, you've
Yeah,
had
I
a
think
look, haven't you?
yeah, no, yeah, I've had a look, and I think this year people are looking for the joy in the little things,
Yeah.
and I think definitely they're trying to collate that, and it's kind of like we're going through this whole thing together. Like we may disagree with each other, but we're all like going through this pandemic together. As much as everyone's views differ, we're all kind of like on this same journey of trying to get out of it and trying to get back to normality. And whether we'll get back to normality is a different question, but with that is everyone trying to just latch onto a little bit of hope, a little bit of joy, and yeah, I've seen lots of great things. People in lockdown doing amazing things with their spare time. So yeah, it's definitely there's definitely been a marked change, especially online where you see a lot of things, a lot of good things. I mean, there are loads of bad things as well. I'm not going to say that everything is
Oh, yeah, I
rosy
agree with you. But
or
the
not,
fact is,
but
the good news is people are, as you said, finding gratefulness in smallest of things. When they do get a chance to talk to family members or whatever, or get to see them. I mean, yesterday,
absolutely.
what's the headline from yesterday? The joy that everything's open. particularly the shops and so on.
Yeah, like people
You
are
know,
amazed that Primark's open. Like it's the best thing in the world.
apparently people are queuing up from 7 o'clock in the morning and so on. Hey, it's still good news. A lot of people need a change of clothes. They've kind of like worn out whatever they had and so on, including me. I had to buy new socks and so on,
Yeah, exactly.
something like that, basic essential stuff and so on. So tell me, we are on our first day of Ramadan, fasting for the next 30 days. Inshallah, we've
Yes.
been, we're fortunate enough to come back into Ramadan and so on, irrespective of COVID. There's been, look, let's get the doom out of the way first. There's been a lot of losses amongst family members and friends. Myself, personally, I lost my brother in law uh,
No.
in this COVID. It was hard.
Yeah.
We had to accept a lot of things where we couldn't see him at the last stage of his life and so on. But Alhamdulillah, that's what Allah ordained and so on. But so many people have lost family members, friends, and there was a stage. Do you remember when at the peak, like if before I could get to say my condolence on a text message, in a line, there'll be another message saying somebody else passed away and so on.
Yeah, it was really scary. Yeah, and yeah, I just remember that time at that when you kind of look outside and it looked deserted and people were just scared and used to look around, people were walking like way distant from each other and I didn't get to see family and it was a really daunting time, which is why, like you said, this people are just trying to latch onto that little bit of good. And one of the things that happened to me, I went for a walk on Saturday with a friend, just around the local area here, and it just looks so beautiful, and it's just something that I didn't really realize. I like the parks, for example. I never really I'm not a big park goer. I didn't really care, but since lockdown, it just made me appreciate it so much more. And now Spinning Hill Park's the best park I've ever seen. Whereas before, I was like, "What's this nonsense?" I was still further afield. Whereas now it's a real blessing to even have that within walking distance. So yeah, it was
And
it was a really it was a really scary time for a lot of people, and obviously just wanted to make sure family and friends are safe, and people I know have passed away, and it was scary. And I've seen a lot of strength in people as well. I've seen people be really courageous and step up to the mark and look after their families and do things that they never thought they were capable of. So that's
100%. That you're right. I'll say it personally is that my two nephews, were there for their father at the last second or so, but they were amazingly strong and so on. They took the good out of that sad situation and so on, and how they, you know, conveyed that message, the positive in a positive way to their mother and to their sister and so on. Yeah, they needed a lot of strength for that. Uh, okay, no more. Right. Now let's reintroduce ourselves. This is the Good News Show. Hopefully, we'll be with you for the next
yeah.
4 or 5 weeks, every Tuesday, 5 p.m. live, or if it's recorded at any given time. So we don't know. But our intention is to bring positive news to you from the local community as well as from around the world, wherever we can pick up any good news, anything that you can send to us that you want us to share. For example, we need. How many Hufazas are there in Leicester, in London, and so on? But the age is getting younger and younger. So
Yeah.
I want people to give us a shout out of, a recent Hufaza, Hafiza, who's become, who's just finished this amazing thing. In this month of Ramadan is the best time to celebrate them just by mentioning their name. They
Absolutely.
deserve it, man. It's hard work. Imran, you have a bit of history in that, don't you?
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things about Hufada, they will hold on to the religion. They'll keep on they'll pass the message down. So if all the books were disappeared, who do we rely on? We rely on the Father to pass down the message and to reiterate that. So it's just so important, and obviously we know how important, so when we're praying the Tarawih prayers, how important it is that we kind of elevate those who have spent a lot of dedication and effort to do that. Because I have good friends who are like Father, and they will do they'll do their revision every single day, and that's for the rest of their life. And it's amazing to see. I mean, I started and didn't finish, but and it's such a big compliment and a big testament to the character of those. And there'll be people who you would never even think are have got the capability, and they'll just smash it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them the strength and the dedication to achieve that. So yeah, definitely big shout out for the Hufad out there, and especially in Ramadan when they are so. I mean, I remember last year when, or maybe the year before, when countries around the world would be looking at Leicester and being like, "We need some Hufaz to come. Can you please take is there anything else
Yeah,
in these
that
groups?"
message always goes around,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah. It's always going around saying, "Can I be in these groups?" And obviously, you're thinking now, people can't even travel anymore. So what's happening in some of these places where they don't have anybody? Like what's the situation and what's going on? So yeah, big
Uh-huh.
thing. And yeah, if we can encourage people to learn the Quran and memorize it, that'd be
You
amazing
know,
as well. So that's part of
you
it.
kind of like said in between. Some of them may have heard that you started, but you didn't finish. But being a
Yes.
Hafaz is never a end to it because, as you mentioned prior
Yeah.
to that, someone who becomes a Hafaz, they have to revise it every day or every month, every week. Ramadan tends to be the best time for these Hafazes to revise the Quran
Yep.
because they really push themselves. Another friend of mine in front of me was being interviewed. Is a very articulate, intelligent man and so on, and he was asked for the Quran. He said, "Look, my intention, my dua is that I've started the journey of the Quran. May I carry on till my last breath." Meaning that even if I don't memorize all of it, as long as I carry on. So carry on, Imran.
No, yes, and I feel the motivation there is one of the things on the list here. So inshallah, just
You've
make
got the
dua for
experience
me.
to pass it on to the young one as well and to help
Yeah,
other people and so
exactly.
on.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Okay.
exactly, 100%. And yeah, it's such a big thing, right? And I'd love to like carry on, and I think I will. So yeah, that's
Okay. So
definitely in the
in
plans.
between our show, we are going to have a few breaks and little breaks and so on, ad breaks, etc. But before we head down that path, my one whole year of lockdown can be summarized this way. I had every intention to be become a polyglot, know 5 different languages. I still haven't even mastered English, so forget about that. Okay, Arabic I did try, and I have to go back to that. The only thing I did do since last November, I intended to lose some weight as I got fed up of watching everybody else do it or talk about it and so on. I thought, I need to lose some weight so I can stop snoring because, with weight comes this amazing thing called snoring. If you haven't suffered it, if you haven't heard it, you're blessed. Okay. So my intention was 5 kg over 5 months, take it nice and easy. Yeah, I managed to do three, put two back on, and then do another three. So yeah, I've lost a bit of weight. It's
No,
not
that's
bad.
good.
Apparently I've stopped snoring while I'm sitting down, but I'm still snoring when I'm lying down. Hey, you can't win them all right?
Yeah, the little steps, right? The little
Just little
wins.
steps, little steps. But I've actually started enjoying the footpath. You talked about parks. I
Yeah.
have started walking. I started running first, and I thought, whoa, this is a bit too much. Let's ease back a little bit, all right? So, so I started walking around my area and so on, and it is gorgeous. Leicestershire has a lot to give. I mean,
Yes, right.
I've due to work, I've had to travel around a bit as well. I was in Middlesbrough about 2 months ago, and I had a lunch break for about 45 minutes. I walked along the beach. It was cold, freezing cold, but it was a beautiful scenery place and so on. So yeah, I've been appreciating the pavements and so on. I've been walking a lot more. I've been encouraging people to walk, run, do whatever you can do. But walking is not bad. We've got some forests, we've got hills, we've got all of these things.
Yeah,
So the good
everything's
news
there.
is we've got everything. A lot of my friends complain about they don't have enough gym equipment or the gym's not open. Even if the gym was open, I don't know how often they went to the gym because their belly seems to be quite big still. But tell me, is there anything else that you've done that's different in the last 12 months that you
For,
thought you were going to do
well,
or
I don't know. So I was one of those people, right, who was really, really like apprehensive of the pandemic. So I was like telling work before that it was announced sort of lockdown. If I want to work from home, I was like, I just don't think this is good. I think I need
yeah.
to. So I was really one of those people who was really scared. Like, don't know if you ever come across like people who are really, really conscious of what was going on and really sort of thinking this is the end almost. So I was really like that. So I requested work to let me work from home before everyone else did, and people thought, oh, you're just over exaggerating a little bit. Obviously, a couple of weeks later, it everything locked down, and then obviously everything started to happen. But with that, I thought I didn't really plan anything. I just wanted to get through the time. But one of the things I did really take from it was getting to spend time with my son and seeing him grow up at home. It's
Yeah.
one of the biggest things there that I probably would have missed out. I was thinking about the hours I would have spent away from him at work, working late, and then coming home to see him, like being at home with him every single day, like getting up with him and being able to just get him ready and all that sort of stuff. Those little things are really, really, really like they fill me joy. So just having that was a big plus for me. And the other things I did, the wonder of the internet, connected with a lot of old friends. across the
Mm.
pond. I don't know if everyone knows. I used to do a gaming podcast. So I got in touch with a lot of friends there. We did a lot of gaming and things, and just really kind of hearing everyone's stories from around the world around how they're dealing with the pandemic. And it was something that we could all talk about. And although it was a bad thing, in a way, it brought me a lot closer to a lot of people that I hadn't spoken with for a long time, that was really nice as well. So I didn't really plan anything. I mean, I was going to try to do the garden. I hope my wife's not listening, but I was meant to get the garden sorted, but that never happened. It's still on the agenda. I tried for I was working really hard for a month or two on it, but then I just gave up. So
Oh, how
um,
big is this garden? You worked
no,
on it for a month.
it's a tiny garden, but it's a mess. Like every time I saw something in there, it just
Hey,
piles on.
listen,
Anyone who's seen it would be like, yeah, it just
we could do this, during Ramadan and doing our shows and so on. We could put a shout out to any, uh, uh, budding gardener and so on to come and give you a hand, open up the back gate, let them in. I'm sure they can help you out and so on. Even
I'd love that.
we
Yeah.
could get some time to get a few people together. I think 6 people. I don't know. Let me not break any rules, okay? Inshallah, if the situation changes, I'll come around and help you out as well. All right. No, that's
Inshallah, that'd
good.
be cool.
Look, a lot of people have said that time they've spent with their children, you could add that up, and that would be the equivalent of the past 6 years, 5 years worth of time
Hmm.
in this one year. So there's been that blessing. Majority of the parents have been really, really happy. Yes, there are other parents who turn around and say, I'm tearing my hair out, I'm doing this and so
But
on.
no, we're all there. Like, but
Yeah,
overall, it's like it has been a blessing,
you
and
got to take the positive. You got to take the positive, man. We can't dwell on the negatives.
and I think just a little moment seeing people that you haven't seen for a long time. There were like some moments where like I didn't see my mother for a while, and she never got to see her grandson for a little bit, and just those little like moments of reconnection and things you really really take for granted. So when that happens again, you get to see someone. Like when I got to chat to you, it's just so like it was so refreshing and
Yeah.
so nice. Like you just forget, right? Like you don't think about all the things you're missing. Whereas in these little moments, I feel like, oh yeah, look, these people actually care, and I've got really good people around me, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you're
just
right. Because I would normally see you maybe in city retreat or somewhere or other. We'd
yeah,
cross
yeah,
paths. Even if we
yeah,
didn't call each other, we'd see each other. But in
exactly, yeah.
lockdown, it's just completely,
Yeah, nobody, nowhere.
yeah.
So yeah, this came up like really fortunately, right? How we got back in touch together. So it was really a strange one to be honest. And yeah, just for anyone who's listening, I was drafted in very late. So if anyone has any complaints about my presenting skills, please blame
Oh, no,
Numayar.
no, 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 no. Listen, I was drafted in very last minute. Okay. I was like thinking, Radio Ramadan's gonna not want to do anything to with me. Well, they're gonna say this guy just waffles on. But you know what? Saving grace, I have had some great guests on the show last year. Big shout out to Zishan who came on.
Mhm.
W Islam. The uncle was like 100 and how many ever years old, but still going strong fit as a fiddle. He looks like 60 years old. A couple other guests I had, amazing, amazing people. They made the show last year. So hopefully on the same wavelength this year, we've got some guests already kind of like have said yes, and others we're waiting on. So just to hint at it, and so we've got someone from the news industry, we've got someone from the current media, from the sports side, looking for the comedy side of things. We're waiting on someone big. I mean, big, but I'll be happy to go with someone small too. I guess if Imran, if you've got someone that you want to bring on from a comedy side, I would love to speak to a stand-up comedian because one of the show I've titled is it halal to laugh while you're fasting? You
Well,
know, I'd love to get a comedian on to discuss that with us on a serious note as well as the positive thing they've got going on in their life. So every guest that comes on, what we're going to do is try to dig into them and find out what's the positive thing they've been doing for the last year or in the past life or with the current job or whatever they're doing, what their future aspiration is. I'll even go take it down to, what they like, ketchup or mustard. We'll ask those questions if we have to. That's the thing. So it's the guest that makes the show, but a co-presenter like yourself, because I have worked with you in the past. We were fortunate. Do you remember 4 years back, Abdul Hamid, Sheikh Abdul Hamid? We did a little radio show
yes,
there.
yeah, we did a show together. Yeah,
Because
when he was
Google popped up to remind me we did that and so on. May Allah keep him well and so on. I do miss the brother.
yes, I miss him
Um,
a lot too. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so that's when I remember. Okay, Imran, that's the man. Let's get hold of him and see if I can. I was so glad when he said that. I even sent that message, didn't I? Can he visualize me? I'm on my knee.
Yeah, I was like, this is a bit. It's got a bit fun, but it's hard to put him out of his misery. But yeah, it's no, no. I'm really glad that he asked me to come on, and it's just nice catching up and
It is.
obviously being able
We're
to
going to have
talk.
some great shows coming up and so on. Of course, as I said, if we can get our children on board and so on, even more, the merrier. Okay.
Yeah, he's one of the things that kids do is like he's super quiet all day, and then when I need him to be quiet, he'll go loud. Like that's what happens, right? Uh, so
Right.
that's what happens.
On the next basis, okay, let's break down. I mean, this is the first show, obviously we're kind of freestyling, but the
Mhm.
next few shows that we'll do, we do have a segmented way. So where we'll do our intro, we'll have a guest on, and we also want to do shout out to the local community of all the good news and so on, and discuss anything that you and I have found to be
Mhm.
positive news. So today I want to do a wedding in lockdown shout out to two couples. I mean, there's been tons of people getting married in lockdown. I think it's fantastic, man. Honestly, uh,
Yes.
it's shown people how easy it is to do the nikah, to get married. You know, you don't have to sweat over which helicopter you're going to fly in, which Lamborghini you're going to drive in, and all that. Now it's just nikah. Let's just get married. Do you agree to get married? Yes, we
Mhm.
agree. Have the witnesses and so on. Have the Wali do the job, and that's it. It's done. So the first couple I like to give a shout out to. I don't know if they're listening or not because they're in London. It doesn't matter. It's my own nephew, Ishfaq, and his good lady Minara. They got married just a month ago in the lockdown. They were waiting for lockdown to finish, but never-ending lockdown became a never-ending love story, and and they did the good thing of getting the nikah done in a local community masjid, with just the family members. And another lovely couple, a great friend of mine, young man. I do have young friends as well as old friends, and my age friends who are old. Okay, you obviously class as a young friend, by the way, Imran. So,
Oh, okay, all right, cool. I'll take that.
so the other one is Suleiman, Hafiz Suleiman, and his good lady's name is Romana. I hope I've got that right. I really, really hope. My handwriting is terrible, but Suleiman, beautiful young man. He lives in Leicester. He has helped me out with social media. He does websites, design, and so on. Amazing guy. He's a Quran Hafiz as well. Beautiful recitation. You may have come across him as well. He goes by the name Sully as well. He has a great show as well on radio.
Oh, brilliant.
Something on radio called The Positive Vibe. So it's all about positives and so on. He and a group of friends, they do podcasts quite regularly,
Oh, brilliant.
um, about positive things in life, about the young generation and how to deal with the negative and turn it positive. So yeah, that's two couples that I know personally that have got married, and a few others that have dropped me messages. But these are the ones that I know personally. Anybody that you know got married, young, old, doesn't matter.
Um, no, actually, that's a good point. Actually, I don't really know anybody who got married, to be honest.
No.
There was people who were going to get married, but I don't know what happened there. So, which is it's another story. But yeah, no, I've not really, it's not really, I've not really come across anybody. That's a good point. So I know you said there's a lot of people from my end. I've not really known anybody. I think everyone's kind of a bit apprehensive and kind of my circles. Like how do you meet people and things like that? There's a bit of things
Yeah.
around that. Like how do you kind of forge relationships and things
No,
when
that I understand because obviously we have been in lockdown for a year. I think there's a lot of people waiting to get married. I mean, the wedding industry took a battering. So one of my friend, very close friend, he has a um, what do you call those things? The big palatial place that you go to, wedding center, wedding venue. That's it.
oh yeah.
Okay, but I feel sorry for the man, but what can you do? That's what it is. So now people are getting married in their own house, getting married in the local masjid, thing like that. So these were the people that were waiting to get married, and
Yes.
this pandemic kind of like set them back and so on. But alhamdulillah, they still went ahead and got married, etc. So that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, no, that is amazing things. I mean, I did that. I had a very small wedding a long time ago at
Mm.
home, and at the time it was like people really didn't understand it, and they kind of looked down on it. But obviously, as time goes on, you realize like what's important and things. So yeah,
This
it's
is
very
the
true.
time to understand, appreciate, hold on to this thing, go back to the sunnah of getting married. Hey, listen, there's nothing wrong with it doing a big blowout party and so on. Just do it
Yeah, of
afterward,
course.
or do it within your own means, you know.
Yes.
The good news is you don't have to spend £30,000 to get married. You still have a few days left of lockdown.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you've got any plan, just get it done.
It's the
Save
perfect
that
excuse, right?
30,000.
Yeah, it's the perfect excuse. Lockdown.
Perfect excuse. Right. Do you have anything else for us for before we go into maybe a little break and so on? Or any good news that you want to share?
So I mean, I've got some good news articles. I think we'll go into them probably after the
Should we
break.
just give it a little taste?
Yeah, so there's one. One that really hit me, and I think it wasn't publicized as much as it should have been. But there's a village in Uganda who have now built their city. So it's a place called Okermomtok, and it was destroyed during the Ugandan Civil War. And what happened to them is they've recreated their whole city on renewable energy. So they're using like shea butter and solar power to kind
Wow.
of to power their whole village. And some of the pictures that you see, I'll try and share some online. They are amazing. It's pretty much like a real life Wakanda, like Black Panther. It's
Stop
like
right there. Stop right there. This sounds really good. So
yeah.
let's go into a little short break and so on. When we come back, we'll pick up on the shea butter and Wakanda. I'm trying
Yeah.
to. I shouldn't put it that way. It's too early in the day. Okay. Inshallah, we'll see you guys very soon.
Okay, see you soon.
Okay. So mentioning about a community, a city that has been built up from scratch after a major war, major conflict, and so on. Just before I let you get back into that one, second segment for me, I'm going to try to keep this regular. If the people who are listening or our friends who actually try to help us out and so on, who are listening as well today or tomorrow, whenever they're listening, it doesn't matter if they send in their good news. This is what I like to do: share any kind of good news. So one really, 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 really exciting news for me is, as we said at the beginning of the show, is when children become hafiz of the Quran. Okay, so I want to give a big shout out to two young people, very, very young people, and I do not want to make the mistake of saying their name wrong and so on, so I wrote that down. So the Hufaz is Dawood Lahir, and his father is Rukia Lahir, brother and sisters. So 10-year-old Dawood and the 11-year-old Rukia Lahir, they both became Quran Hafiz just very, very recently. Their proud mother, Manira, good friend of, I think you might know her as well. She has, did you travel with me when she went to Aqsa as well,
Not
Manira?
sure. Maybe.
You, Wala?
Not sure.
No, no, okay. I know your missus knows her as well.
Yeah, man,
You
she's
know,
everywhere.
Lester is very well connected in that case. But
It
amazing,
is.
10-year-old
Yeah.
Dawood and 11-year-old Rukia. MashaAllah, well done
Amazing.
to you guys for completing your Quran and memorizing this at such a young, tender age. May Allah preserve you, preserve the Quran in your mind and your heart, and so on. And may you go on to influence other people to do this beautiful thing. It's been a hard way. You've
Ameen.
climbed a massive mountain. I always say this: children who do this, or young adults, anybody who tries to memorize Quran and so on, is a big mountain, and they have climbed it. They should give themselves a pat on the back and stick to it and just appreciate what Allah has blessed them with. So that's my big shout out for now. Okay.
Yeah, that's an amazing 10 and 11 years. That is unbelievable. So yeah,
Yeah.
mashallah, well done both. Yeah, big achievement.
All right. So now Manira has a sister, Rabia. Big shout out to her. Apparently next week she's going to call in and sing a nasheed if I
Oh
give her the
wow.
shout out. So I look forward to
Looking
it.
forward to that. Yes.
Okay. Oh, sorry. On good news on nasheed and so on. All right.
Hmm.
Good friend
Yep.
Omar Issa,
Yes.
non-instrumental music and so on. The guy has been working so hard. Amazing, humble guy. If you come across him in any kind of functions or anything, amazing, beautiful. I just saw some of the updates. He's, I think, the fourth in the British UK album chart. Now that's unheard of.
Wow.
Nasheed about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and so on, non-instrumental. So if you guys know of Brother Omar Isa, make dua for him. Allah keeps him on the right path and so on. But amazing guy, honestly. I
Ameen.
just saw
Ameen.
that. That's his good news. I just want to share it. I don't know whether I'm not trying to give him a free publicity, although he does deserve it. Anyone who's Muslim, who's got a new business, who's done Hifz of Quran or anything positive, we should just give a shout out. That's what I think. So if anybody's got some new business they've started during lockdown, that literally defies lockdown. If you think about it, a lot of businesses are scared they're going to now crash and burn after this one
Hmm.
year of lockdown. There's a lot of people that have started business from home
Yep.
in a new venture, new. Some people have done massive business and so on. If there's anybody you want to give a shout out to, just say it out. Because well done to them, congratulations to them. If anyone wants to send a message to us, say, can you give a shout out to this business and that business? Happy to do so. Okay, I don't know the legal technicalities of it with regard to advertising, but I'm happy to give a big shout out to the Muslim brothers and sisters who've done this hard work, or even young ones who've done any kind of business and so on. Okay, Imran, back to you. The good news, start again. Give us a little recap. What's the good news that you came across?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, some. So the good news I came across. So I was looking, scouring the web. I was looking for things. We might provide some links, and I always look for good news, which I'm interested in. So I'm hoping everyone else would be interested in. So what I found was a city in Uganda called Okermomkok. It was destroyed during the Ugandan Civil War, and it was like in ruins. And what they've done, they've created and rebuilt a sustainable community that's home to 4,000 people now.
Wow.
And so they call it Okara City, and the idea is that it's inspired by Wakanda. So anyone who's seen the Black Panther films or is familiar with the comics would know that Wakanda is a city, a fictional city, fictional country in Africa, where they've got like really, really like sort of high tech. equipment. They're like really at the forefront of technology, and the idea is that's kind of an oxymoron because you wouldn't expect a village sort of place to have that much technology and things. And this Okera City is really bringing that to life. So I was just reading about them. I was listening to the founder and how he said that he didn't want sort of charities to come in and change things. He wanted the children there to be part of it. So everything's run on solar power. They've got like a bank, a school. They've got like pretty much everything there. They've got clean water. The electricity generates through solar energy, and it's available to everyone. They've got markets, bars, a community center, everything there really. And it's just amazing how they've managed to use like shea butter. And I'm not really looked into the specifics of how they've done it, but the founder said is like shea butter could be their vibranium, as in they use it for everything. And it's really strange because obviously we know shea, but you can buy it from local shops and things, and it's they're using it to power their village, about power their city, and it was really inspiring. And they've done that all during this year as well, when you can't really get things from places, and that was kind of one of the things where they had to think outside the box and think how we're going to do this. We're not getting the support that we usually get. Let's do something ourselves. And yeah, props to the 4,000 there. They are, and if you look at some of the pictures, it's really you see some massive smiles on the kids' faces. I
Maybe we
was
can
very
put some
impressed.
links.
Yeah, we'll drop some
Yeah,
links.
or even send it to Akila, and then we can put it forward pictures. No, there's a couple of things you touched on. Solar power. I think
Yeah.
that's just an amazing thing that how we're just about touching on it. I guess because we're catching up with the technical side of things to make it more viable.
Mhm.
Instead of having tons and tons of glass and so on, you can have a much thinner material. Without getting too technical, because I don't know enough. Uh, but going back from that Wakanda and so on, I know why you mentioned you're a big Marvel fan, aren't you? Or
Yeah,
comic
huge,
fan.
huge.
Sorry, no, you're a huge comic fan. Let me say it
Yeah,
the correct
huge
way.
comic book fan. I was
Yeah,
reading them when I used to get bullied at school, reading them and reading them now. Now it's cool. Not everyone loves comics, but yeah, I've been reading them for years and years, and I've got a huge comic collection. But yeah, so I'm a huge fan. So if anyone who knows me knows that I love comics.
I know, I know.
And I
Because
try, I try and I try and kind of relate that back to things. So, for example, I'm really excited about Miss Marvel, the first Muslim comic book hero who's getting sort of mainstream views and things like that. So she's going to have a show at some point, and that'll be amazing. So, yeah, I'm a huge collector as well. So I've got all that memorabilia and all sorts of things. So,
yeah, no, that's true. It's good what you said about what is the character's name? The Muslim
her name's Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel.
Kamala Khan. Okay, okay.
Yes.
So I saw that. I'm a secret comic fan. I'm not gonna deny it. I still look at it. I love the all this stuff and so on. Because mine was in the olden days is Spider Man and Wolverine. Believe it or not, it used to be Wolverine because he had a bit more hair on his face. So that used to kind of like. Who can you relate to at that time? It was hard, and Superman was what you watched. I didn't read so much, but
Yeah.
I used to read a bit more darker comics and so on. And I was one of the very first people around my age group who started looking at Japanese comics and so on. Oh, gorgeous! I love the young man.
Sorry, it's
No, no,
gatecraft.
there's nothing to apologize, man. It's very nice that we've got the young presenters of the future, okay, ready to take over. So yeah, comics. So we've actually got Muslim representation in the comic industry and so on. So that's good news. Some people might say, "Well, what's so good about that?" At least we have got a foot in there because there's a lot
Yeah.
of Muslim artists who are actually trying to create comics so that would represent our children's way of life, our way of life, but it's not hitting the mainstream yet. So hopefully more and more. It's happening. Don't get me wrong, it is happening. So the good news is that we will have more Muslim characters in comics, not just as the villains. That is the good news. Minute I hear minute I hear the villain in a film or in a comic or something, I'm scared there's going to be a Muslim name. I don't want that anymore, to be honest with you. I want them to make up a completely, utterly fictitious name, fictitious country, fictitious world, and bring the villain from there. That would be the best thing to do.
No, and I
Okay.
think one of the cool things about Miss Marvel in particular is that the author is also Muslim. It wasn't a tick box. It was the author is Muslim and pulling from her own experiences and things. And when you read the comics, they've got like, like her brother's meant to be really religious and he's reading du'as before he eats. And you see these little things and you're like, oh, I've never really seen these things before. So it is pretty cool. So yeah, so just cycling back around, the the real reason why I was really interested is obviously the Wakandan bit really got me. But there was something that he said is that he looked at the sheer tree, the guy who decided to start this up. Um, his name's Okello, and he said he looked at the tree and he realized about the natural resources there and how he could harness it. And I was just thinking about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put all these things there for us all this time, and he's had that tree in front of him for his whole life, and he didn't realize that he could power his whole city using the
Mm.
resources that were in front of him. So the things that happened this year, people just opened their eyes to things, and I think that was where the good news really, really hit me.
Yeah. I've been hearing about upcycling, recycling. Um, I think that during the lockdown, we've definitely been recycling a lot more. So good things for the environment is that it was the first few weeks, I think, into lockdown. I recall there were pictures of the sea changing color, the cities that had smog all over them, and so on. Smog is like smoke and fog. It just that had been lifted because there
Yeah.
was less traffic around the world. Cars were at standstill during lockdown and so on. It can be done, that we can change our environment and so on, bring good news for ourselves while we're still alive to enjoy it, as well as our future generation and so on. So there's so much that we can do. The good news is we can do it. Allah has given us solutions and so on. Allah has given us the ability, the mental ability, the physical ability, and so on. Well, first step first, let's start cleaning up our own house, our own roads, and so on. With the instead of the new thing is the mask. Everywhere you go, you see a
Mm.
mask on the floor. Before you see mask and gloves. Now it's just a mask. Everywhere I go, I'm thinking, what is, surely,
Yes.
what, do we
Yeah.
just rip it off and throw it in the bin? Imagine what's happening in the sea, in the
Mm.
forest, and so on. So I'm glad you brought that up. So glad to see that there's been a change within a country, within a city, and so on by the people. So it's people power. Because with regard to charity, I actually mentally made a um, kind of like statement to myself to stick to. I said, from now on, I want to support charities that gives directly to a person,
Yeah.
okay, or a family or group of people that will do something for themselves and not be reliant on outside help.
Hmm.
So, setting up a business or teaching someone something constructive, you can carry on feeding people, which we do need to do. I mean, there are obviously right now, if you look at Yemen and all these other places, you do need to help by feeding and so on. But the good news
Yes.
is like there are countries like Uganda, uh, Ghana. Ghana is actually very, very, mashallah, going very, very forward, very fast and so on. India, Bangladesh, all the places. I mean, who doesn't need help? Even in this country, we need help with the food bank and so on for the community. What I'm saying is like,
Yeah.
if we give them the tools and so on, seriously, genuinely give them the tool, not just say give them a tiny bit, a screwdriver. I mean, give them the whole shebang, a tractor rather than a screwdriver. They can do a lot more. So yeah, the good news is that we might need to change our mental attitude because the people that receive the aid, they don't want to be receivers. Look what you just said. The leader of the community, has said that they want the children to be part of the growing culture of
Yeah.
creating something for their own environment and so on. So, inshallah, let's see how that goes. Yeah. Anything else
Yeah.
that
I
you
mean,
picked up?
yeah, just that was kind of the main focus. There's a few things you said about upcycling. There was I read about a fashion house in Russia who do all of their fashion through recycled items, and they come up with some really cool designs. And just kind of segueing there, you did talk about shout outs. My brother actually is raising money at the moment for, and he's a graphic designer. And what he's doing is using his skills to create a fashion streetwear brand, which is going to raise money for charity. So he's working with South Numayar. And it's called Neighbors in Paradise, and he's
I
trying
love
to,
that name, man. Neighbors in Paradise.
because that's
Straight
what
away,
he'll
it makes me think of orphans and
yeah,
things like that,
yeah, and
and
inshallah, like
prophets and sahabas.
it's
Sorry, go on.
yeah, no, it's straight. The name itself really touched me because it's like it makes you think of things that way, but then also like at the end, that's our goal, right? To be neighbors in paradise. So,
That's it.
so you can help. So yeah, so he does a fashion streetwear brand, and he does loads of designs for like major design outlets and things like that. And he thought, I want to do something for the people, for local charities, for all the people that you mentioned, Maya. And he's using his skills to create a fashion brand, which you'll see sort of charity clothes with a twist. something that you'd like to wear out, something like you want to wear on a normal day, not just plastered on, just like the charity name plastered on a t-shirt, more like a fashion design sort of aspect.
Excellent,
So I'll pop
excellent.
some information around that. Yeah, it's really good, and maybe he can talk on here one day, inshallah.
Inshallah, no, I look forward to that. On top of that, I look forward to being part of that journey, hopefully, in any way I can, and so on. Because that's innovative. That's what I'm saying. Doing something different, not just constantly plugging a hole. And he's already done some great work for Yemen as well. He's raised quite a bit of funds. So let's not undersell him. The man's done young man has done a lot of work by
Yeah,
himself.
it's very shy, my brother, but his designs are really, really good. So they
Yeah,
speak
no,
for
I
themselves.
saw some. I think I saw something on your website, also on one of your social media handle. I think something against the wall and so on. Uh,
Yeah, of course.
Talking about recycling, upcycling, the next show that's coming up straight after us on Radio Ramadan is called, let me get this right again, the Green Guardians of Leicester. It's a group of Muslims in Leicester who want to lead a cleaner and greener life closer to the Sunnah. So I thought I'd just give a little plug there. So anyone who's listening to us, hang in there. There's another great show coming up. It's called The Green Guardians of Leicester. Inshallah, you'll find something that will vibrate with you and so on. Maybe you'll take something away. Today, I want to say before another second pass, Imran, Jazakallah khair for coming on the show
No,
and being my
barakallah fees.
co-host.
Pleasure.
Okay, and you, my young man, I'm so glad to see you there. Stop muting him.
Yeah,
Let him make a bit
apologies.
of noise. No.
He's gonna make all sorts of noise.
Do you want to give us a little song, a nasheed or anything, or Surah Fatiha or anything? Let's see if you can get him. Let's see what you can. Hello. There you
Yeah,
go.
sorry, he's gonna.
That's
That's what he's
Adele,
gonna
isn't it? Adele and Omar Issa's one. Yeah, I remember that one. Hello from the other side. See, we can do any one of these things. So, the Good News Show's been brought to you by Numayar and Imran. Inshallah, this is obviously our first day, first Ramadan, and so on. Inshallah, we will smooth our little things, hiccups, and so on, but we want to try to keep it as natural as possible. We're not professional broadcasters and so on, but of course, we adhere to the professional rules and regulations. And we have got some amazing guests coming up in the next few weeks and so on. So hang in there with us on a Tuesday, 5 o'clock, and whenever else we are. Um, when you ever record a show, obviously you can also listen to alternative times and so on the different social handles, social media handles, and so on, like Facebook, etc. So, Imran, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening to you
I
intently.
thought you've just muted him, don't mute him, man. Okay, so anybody else that you can think of that you want to bring on your brother, amazing. That would be really good if we could get him on here, just even for 5-10 minutes and so on. That would be
Yeah,
great.
he rarely talks though. Yeah, bit of a
Yeah.
challenge that one.
All right, well,
That'll
he
be a
can
good news story in itself if we can get him to talk.
You know what? We could just get him to give images that we just put up, and people can look at the images and they'll know. You'll say mountain, you'll say volumes. Okay, but I really want people out there, your friend, my friends, and anybody that's listened to us or who does listen to us, to send us some information about their good news in their life. They might think it's irrelevant to the rest of the world, but you know what? If it's good news to you, it's good news to us. So do send it in.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything, as I said, from marriage to a new job you've taken on, something you've overcome, something you've learned. As long as you're not like me, who has made all the intention to learn something, but actually not got through to anything. But look,
You
we
do
all
yourself
try.
discredit. You do a lot of stuff, man.
No, not in this lockdown, man. I'm ashamed of myself. I mean, the whole year's gone by. Come on, man. I could have at least learned how to do, I don't know, knitting or something. Or I could have joined someone like Joe on TV and got fit and so on. Hey, never mind. All good. All right. Imran, take us out with any good news that you've got for us. Give us a few more things.
Well, I mean, the greatest news that we're in Ramadan. We made it here, so that's the biggest news there. That
I love you, bro. You read my mind.
that is the biggest news, right? And we're just blessed. I'm able to fast, and just made it to this point. So yeah, and I hope Ramadan goes well for everyone, and makes it easy for you as well. So yeah, that's me.
For the family, spend time with the family. You know what? Get this big stuff that you got to do, work, etc., whatever it is. Get it done during the day as early as possible, and the last few hours spend it with the family. Just like now, hopefully 6 o'clock we'll clock off and so on. It's nap time. Apparently, we have a timetable set up. Okay, I'll explain that next week. Timetable menu. I tell you, it helps so much. All right, during Ramadan. Just a few more minutes left of our show. So I will say salam here at this stage to everyone out there listening to us. Thank you for joining us. The Good News Show on Radio Ramadan with Numayar and Imran. Inshallah, we'll be back with you next week. Imran, big thumbs up, bro, for reminding me and everybody else. Ramadan is the big news. Quran is the
Yes.
big news. And inshallah, we'll try to get back in touch. If you haven't done much of the Quran reading and so on, even if I start, I'm talking about myself first. If I pick it up and start reading one page or listening and so on, mashallah, it's a start. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. It's a start. Just do a page, and if you're feeling like self conscious and stuff, reach out to us. More than happy to discuss, and we can go on the journey together, right? Get on this good news journey
Mashallah,
together. So
mashallah,
yeah, everyone
mashallah,
just
mashallah.
so yeah, more than happy to provide support
There you
wherever we
go. You
can.
heard
So
it. Imran's going to take you on as a private student now. No, we mean it genuinely. Do reach us to us. However, most of the people in local Leicester and London do know us already personally, and the ones that don't, they can get in touch with Radio Ramadan and just drop us a message any which way you want. Okay, we'll leave our details at the bottom of the shows and so on. That way you can get in touch with us, whether it's good news or even bad news you want to discuss. Just give us a shout. Last 5 seconds, Imran.
no, I'm just pleasure to be here. Jazakallah khair, Maya. Thank you
No,
so
my
much for the
pleasure as well.
opportunity.
Assalamu alaikum and salam to everybody out there, all our sisters and brothers, your good lady wife and so on for letting you be free for an hour. All right,
Yes.
assalamu alaikum. We're done.